And I give this to you guys because if you're anything like me, I could tell you what you could do to overcome procrastination, but I always do a lot better understanding why what I'm going to do works. And so that's what I aim to explain now. A friend coined this term to me and he called it the three-headed monster of procrastination. And I will never forget it because every time that I have found myself procrastinating something, it has fallen into one of these three buckets. The first one is anxiety. That's the first head of the three-headed monster. Most often, and I will say I am the queen of this, is that if I find myself procrastinating something, it's because it gives me anxiety. It represents short-term experiencing a lot of discomfort. And so a lot of the times what I find is that for me, when I am avoiding something or I'm procrastinating something, it's actually because that thing triggers anxiety in me. So for example, the reason that I was avoiding making content, it wasn't because of any other reason other than it made me feel anxious. When I thought about posting content online, I thought about the comments that could come up. I felt a spike of cortisol in my body and I felt uncomfortable physically. And because of that, I wanted to avoid doing it. I wanted to avoid thinking about it and I wanted to avoid talking about it. And so overall, I was just avoiding the feeling of anxiety. And so here's what you can do to deal with anxiety. And this is how I get myself constantly every day to do things that make me anxious. Okay, I ask myself a few questions. First, if I do this today, will it make my life better or worse tomorrow? That helps me so much because a lot of the times what I recognize is that the thing that I don't want to do, the thing that feels shitty today, is going to set me up for success tomorrow. The second question I ask myself is, what skill will I gain if I do this? I think this is a really key one because, for me, when I was avoiding making content, I was like, oh, wow, well, there's a lot of skills that I don't have that I will gain if I just get past this fear. And most of the time, I think that it is easier to get over a fear if you have something worthy of overcoming it for. So say that you're really scared of speaking on stage. What skill do you gain by confronting your stage fright? It's like, wow, well, I would learn to present, I would learn to influence, I would learn to persuade. Think about how much of your life it opens up, which leads me to my third question, which is, if I avoid this thing today, does it make my life expand or contract tomorrow? Because what avoidance does and what anxiety does and what procrastination does is they make your life very small because they essentially take away options. Because the more feelings you seek to avoid, like anxiety, the smaller the amount of experiences you open yourself up to are. And so I ask myself, will my life get bigger or smaller if I do this thing? And I want to live a big life. And so if it means I need to be uncomfortable today to live a big life, then I remind myself of that by asking myself that question. Remember this, action alleviates anxiety.